If I cover up Crimshine, all these bands get mentioned. Which rock bands or other musicians are Democrat, Republican, or something else? Let's run for president through the list. Now, I don't know a single thing about politics because my brain is so full of music trivia that I simply don't have time to bother with it. What I'm saying is this channel is kind of like an old school dinner table. You feel me? We don't talk about certain things here. We've got 3 categories, even though you'd think it'd just be 2. That's politics for you, right? Just kidding. I don't know what they are. Please stop asking. Democrats, Republicans, and the bands that don't talk about this stuff that much, like me, because I don't care. And maybe they don't care if you don't care. Or because the band is made up of different people with different opinions than each other, and somehow they get along anyway. Did you hear that, America? It's possible. First, we got the tight lips that have different opinions in the bands, and some bands agree, but they just don't want to talk about it in the public eye that much. So these are the tight lips. Here are the artists that steer clear of any political talks because not everyone in the band is in agreement, and that is Boston, the More Than a Feeling band of the 70s. There's like 10,000 rotating members of this band at this point, so it makes sense that there's a wide variety and spectrum of beliefs within the Boston Spaceships. You got Democrats, you got Republicans, you got Libertarians, you got like a monkey, you got like, I think at one point I was playing trombone in Boston at some point. The Ramones! The Ramones, that's right, and left. You may think that the Ramones are leaning one way or the other, but some band members are Democrat and some are Republican. Unfortunately, none are here with us today. None of the original ones. There's a few, you know, Jim Bob Ramone and Ollie Oxenfree Ramone. They're still alive. But now we're talking about the Offspring, still alive and kicking. Noodles is very vocal politically on his social media about his opinions, and I'd be willing to bet on Dexter's affiliation as well. But this band's music has never really voted one way or the other, making the Offspring some tight-lipped punk rockers. Hank Williams III, or as he goes by these days, simply 3, has stated that the Dead Kennedys are the only musicians worthy to talk about politics. So that's pretty straightforward. Now we got the blue bands. It's widely known that most famous people, be it movie stars or rock stars, are for the most part Democrat. So I won't bore you with a list of 10,000 Democratic rock bands. This is a short, concise list of the most prominent ones. And I do know that no human is 100% one thing or the other. I think we can all understand that idea here. First blue guy is going to be, it's not the Blue Man Group, it is John Fogerty, who labels himself Democratic. Bruce Springsteen, Democrat. REM, Democrats who want a certain politician to stop using their song Everybody Hurts. That was a weird headline that I came up with REM and politics. REM probably fall into the other category, but again, we're boiling this down to red or blue for the sake of this video. Remember, the gray area, the beauty of gray, right? That was a live reference if you like that band. Pearl Jam are Democrats, although their cover of I Am a Patriot, I feel perfectly encapsulates how more people should be. Let's get some lyrics. We got, what does he say here? I ain't no communist. I ain't no capitalist. I ain't no socialist. I ain't no imperialist. I ain't no Democrat. But then Eddie Vedder does get to the next line and take away some of the partisanship with the sure as bleep ain't no Republican either. We know one party, and that is freedom. I only know one party, and that is freedom. Now, Sum 41 is next, and they bring up an interesting intersection of the rock and roll politics talks as well. Can Canadians talk about American politics? Well, yeah, they can. Canadians are technically North Americans. So yeah, you hear that, Tom McDonald? you're in the clear. Yeah, the Canadians have strong beliefs about American politics too, and Sum 41 are on the side of the Democrats, and Tom MacDonald is a little bit scary. Back to us American idiots to end the Democratic side with Green Day. Billy Joe has identified as a libertarian years and years ago, but has not been a big fan of the last two Republicans in office. There are a few instances of Billy Joe taking jabs at Democrats as well. A line in Holiday in particular about Democrats who cross the line to find that the money is on the other side. So while we're lumping Green Day into the Democrat category, the thing to remember about the American Idiot album is that it is a breakup album at heart. And the twist, spoiler alert if you haven't heard it, the album, if you haven't heard American Idiot in the last 20 years, the twist is that Billy Joe admits that he is the American Idiot. His girlfriend tells him he's the American Idiot. He says he's the American Idiot. It's on his birth certificate. He's an idiot. He messed up. He lost the girl. He ruined his life. So that album's not about Bush. System of a Down are an outlier on this list because they are a super duper political, ultra political band about their Armenian heritage, their American culture, when they aren't singing about pizza, pizza pie, and food and stuff. They've got a lot of food references in their lyrics for some reason. But drummer John Dalmayan is more conservative than Serge, Darren, and Chavo, and like civilized people living in the United States, they continue to work together live and on the stage in live performances. Unfortunately, the band's inner politics have destroyed their recording career in a weird situation where Darren, the guitar player, has kind of hijacked the band from the other members. I mean, he writes and produces some of the greatest songs of all time, but there's got to be a middle ground for System of a Down, right? Like split the System of a Down album down the middle with like half of it being Darren Malakian songs and half being Serge Tankian, or more, all four band members writing together. They could do something like that. Okay, on to the more conservative rock stars, the Republican rock stars, if you will. Stick around because we're doing this one in least surprising to most surprising. Ted Nugent, Republican. Elvis Presley, Republican. Hank Williams Jr., that's Randall, Republican. Staind are getting lumped in here with Aaron Lewis because while his country career is all about conservative stances, just had a new album out, Staind have 0 songs about politics, but the other band members seem to agree with Aaron, or at least not disagree with him too much. Next up, we got the Kid Rock, Robert James Ritchie. Kid Rock has changed his political stance over time, and that's fine. He's allowed to do that. When he was a Detroit rapper in the 1980s and early 90s, he would talk smack about Barbara Bush, but now he's full-on Republican. Some people think that Kid Rock is faking this to sell records, but I think he's just had a change of heart as he's gotten older, which is fine. You're allowed to do that. Kid Rock identifies heavily with Republicans, but come on. The dude wants to legalize all drugs, all weapons, all sort of wacky, insane ideas that are so far out. I don't think anybody on any side of the aisle wants this guy to really be president or commander-in-chief, whatever you want to say. He did have a pretty cool song called If I Was President back in the day, which was awesome, but had terrible ideas where he would, if he kept his word in those lyrics, churches turned into strip clubs, live streams of him getting friendly with people in the Oval Office instead of lying about it, and he gives himself a pay raise. There are some good things. He talks about a lot about putting good music on the radio, giving hardworking men and hardworking women, single parents, giving them like a paid vacation every year and helping them out. So that's awesome. I would benefit from that. Three Doors Down, Republicans. Leonard Skinner, Republican. Gene Simmons, Republicans. ZZ Top, Republican. Kanye West, Republicans. Yeah, I don't know if anybody is accepting Kanye West into their group right now. Weird. Dave Mustaine, Republican. My notes say Republic, but I think that's Republican. Sammy Hagar, Republican. Joe Perry of Aerosmith, Republican. Mike Love of the Beach Boys, Republican. Avenged Sevenfold, Republican. Meatloaf is one of the coolest guys ever in the history of guys. And he supported Democrats and Republicans alike and didn't care what anybody thinks. Don't care what you think, what I think. But he did support Republicans just a teensy bit more. Next up, we got Sully Erna of Godsmack, Republican. And Michael Graves of the Misfits. Surprisingly, the most surprising is Michael Graves of the Misfits, Republican. And for myself, I'd like to publicly announce in this video, for the first time ever on the internet, that my political party, my political beliefs are